The great meeting hall of the Galactic Council Space Station, Harmony, buzzed with noise. Beings from 47 different worlds sat in rising tiers of seats. Some floated in special tanks, others stood on platforms. All of them were talking at once. Captain June stood quietly at the edge of the room. His dark uniform marked him as a diplomat of Earth, though no one here knew what Earth was. Not yet. He watched the alien beings with calm eyes. After 5 years working for Earth's space agency, he had learned to stay calm in strange places. "Are you ready, Captain?" asked Hyun, the science officer. She held a data pad in her slim hands, checking the numbers one more time. "As ready as I'll ever be," said June. "Is Subin here yet?" As if called by his words, Subin hurried into the room. The communications specialist was younger than both of them, but no one was better at breaking down language barriers. "Sorry I'm late," said Subin. "I was double-checking our translation matrix. We don't want any mistakes today." The center of the room held a large round table. At that table sat the 7 high counselors. They looked nothing alike. One was a tall, thin being with 4 arms and skin like bark. Another looked like a giant jellyfish floating in a clear tank. The one called Admiral Tecleri seemed to be made of living crystal, with a body that sparkled under the lights. The room gradually became quiet as the head counselor stood. He was a blue-skinned being with large, thoughtful eyes. "We gather today to discuss signal JX439, he said. His voice was deep and calm. "Our deep space arrays picked it up 3 standard months ago. It contains mathematical sequences proving intelligent origin." Screens around the room showed the signal. To June, it looked familiar. Very familiar. Admiral Tecleri spoke next, his crystalline body making a soft chiming sound as he moved. "The signal comes from Sector 8-73. This sector contains Deathworld 3271. Our science teams say no intelligent life could evolve there. The conditions are too harsh." June stepped forward. This was the moment. "High Counselors," he said clearly. "My name is Captain June of Earth. My team and I have come a long way to meet you." The room erupted in surprised noises. Some beings pulled back in shock. Others leaned forward in curiosity. "You claim to be from this death world?" asked the head counselor. "I don't know what you call a death world," said June. "But I come from the 3rd planet in our solar system. We call it Earth." Hyun stepped forward, her data pad ready. "We've analyzed your star charts. Deathworld 3271 is our home." The Admiral's crystal body flashed with colors of disbelief. "Impossible. That world has crushing gravity, poisonous oxygen levels, extreme temperature swings, and dangerous radiation from its sun. No intelligent species could evolve there." Subin smiled politely. "Yet here we stand." The head counselor raised a hand for quiet. "If what you say is true, we must examine this carefully. Show us proof of your world." June nodded to Hyun, who connected her data pad to the main system. The screens around the room changed to show images of Earth: blue oceans, green forests, white mountain peaks, cities of glass and steel. "This is our home," said June. A small furry being with 6 eyes spoke up from the 2nd tier of seats. "Those radiation levels would kill most council species in days. How do you survive?" "Our bodies evolved to handle it," said Hyun simply. "It's normal for us." Another counselor, who looked like a tall insect, clicked its mandibles. "What about the oxygen levels? Such high concentrations are dangerously flammable." "Again, we evolved with it," said June. "We need oxygen to live." The room grew louder with questions and disbelief. The Admiral's crystal body was flashing rapid colors of alarm. "And the gravity?" asked another voice. "Your world's pull is nearly double the council average." June shrugged. "It's just home to us." The head counselor studied the humans carefully. "You say the signal we detected came from your world?" "Yes," said Subin, stepping forward. "But there's something you should know. That signal is old. Very old." She tapped on her data pad. and the screens changed again. They showed a black and white image of a large dish-shaped antenna. "This is Arecibo," Subin explained. "It was one of our first major radio telescopes. In 1974, our scientists sent a message into space, a greeting. It contained basic information about our world, our DNA, and our species." 1974. The jellyfish-like counselor bubbled. "That's nearly 200 of your years ago." "Yes," said June. "The message you received wasn't meant for you specifically. It was sent into space hoping someone might hear it someday." 200 years is barely any time at all," said the tree-like counselor. "Your species went from sending radio signals to interstellar travel in 2 centuries." The room fell silent as the implication sank in. "We advance quickly," said Hen simply. The Admiral's crystal form was now pulsing with deep red lights. "This is troubling. A species from a death world, advancing at such a rapid pace. The security implications." "We come in peace," said June firmly. "We've had our own wars and conflicts, but we've learned from them. We seek friendship and knowledge, not conquest." The head counselor's large eyes blinked slowly. "Perhaps we should see more of this Earth, to understand better." "We anticipated your curiosity," said June. "With your permission, we've prepared a presentation about our world." The head counselor nodded, and Hyun started the video. The screen showed Earth in all its variety. Vast oceans teeming with life, dense jungles, frozen tundra, scorching deserts, mountains reaching to the sky. The video showed humans living in all these places, building cities, farming land, swimming in oceans where powerful predators lived, climbing mountains where the air was thin. It showed storms, hurricanes and blizzards and tornadoes. It showed volcanoes erupting and earthquakes shaking cities. And through it all, humans not just surviving, but thriving. The room was completely silent now. "You live with all these dangers?" asked a small, gentle-looking being from the 3rd tier. "We do," said June. "Earth can be harsh, but it's our home. We've adapted." The video showed more. Humans eating foods containing chemicals that would be toxic to many species, drinking beverages with alcohol and caffeine, enjoying foods with capsaicin that would cause severe pain to most alien life. It showed humans sleeping, lying unconscious for hours despite potential predators. It showed sports where humans deliberately risked injury for fun. With each new scene, the council members grew more shocked. "But the most important thing to understand," said June as the video ended, "is that despite evolving on what you call a death world, we value peace. We value cooperation. The harshness of our world taught us to work together to survive." The head counselor was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "We need to discuss this. Please wait outside." June, Hyun, and Subin left the chamber. In the hallway, they looked at each other. "Do you think they believe us?" asked Subin. "They have to," said Hyun. "We're standing right here." "Whether they believe us or not," said June, "things will never be the same. For them or for us." Inside the chamber, the council argued. Some were afraid. Some were curious. Some saw opportunity. But all agreed on one thing. The universe had just become a much stranger place. An hour later, they were called back in. The head counselor looked at them with his large eyes. "Captain June of Earth, we have decided. The council will send a delegation to your world. We must see this death world for ourselves." June bowed slightly. "We would be honored to host you." As they left the chamber, Admiral Tecleri approached them. His crystal body was now a deep blue color. "I hope you understand our caution," he said. "Your world sounds terrifying." June smiled. "To us, it's just home." As they walked back to their ship, Hyun laughed softly. "Did you see their faces when we showed them surfing? Or when they saw the spicy food competition?" added Subin. June nodded. "We've opened their eyes to something new, and they've opened ours. We always thought if we met aliens, they'd be more advanced than us, more dangerous. Instead, they think we're the dangerous ones, said Hyun. Not dangerous, corrected June. Just hardy. As their ship prepared to leave with the council representatives on board, June looked out at the stars. The universe had just gotten a lot more interesting, and the journey was just beginning. The ship Serenity moved slowly toward the blue planet. Through the main window, Earth grew larger by the minute. Its blue oceans and swirling white clouds looked peaceful from space. But the aliens on board were anything but peaceful. They were nervous. "Are you sure the shielding will protect us?" asked Counselor Vex, a tall being with skin like tree bark. He was checking his personal safety suit for the 5th time. Captain June smiled politely. "The radiation levels are perfectly safe for your visit. We've prepared special suits for all of you, just to be extra careful." The ship's science officer, Hyun, looked up from her screens. "We're entering Earth's outer atmosphere now. All systems normal." Beside June stood Dr. Mina, Earth's top expert on extreme environments. She had joined the mission to help explain Earth to the visitors. "Remember," she told the aliens, "what seems normal to us might seem extreme to you. Just stay calm and follow our safety plans." Admiral Teckleri's crystal body flashed with nervous colors. "Your gravity alone is nearly twice what my species is used to. I will be using mobility assistance." "Of course," said Mina. "We've prepared hover platforms for those who need them." Subin, the communications specialist, was talking with Gala, a small blue alien who specialized in biology. They were looking at readings from Earth's surface. "These temperature variations are incredible," said Gala. "Parts of your world can be below freezing and other parts burning hot at the same time." "Yes," said Subin simply. "We call it weather." As the ship descended through the clouds, the alien visitors crowded around the windows. For many, this was their first time seeing the Deathworld up close. Their faces showed fear and wonder. The ship landed smoothly in a large field outside Seoul. It was a warm spring day with a gentle breeze. To the humans, it was perfect weather. To the aliens, it was a mix of terrifying extremes. "The oxygen concentration is 21%, announced one alien, checking instruments. "Highly combustible." "The atmospheric pressure is crushing," said another, wincing inside their suit. "The UV radiation from your sun is intense," added a third. June and Minna exchanged a quick look. This was going to be interesting. As the ship's door opened, the alien delegation hesitated. Minna stepped out first, breathing deeply. "Come," she said. "The air is clean here. The day is mild." One by one, the aliens emerged. Some walked on their own legs. Others floated on hover platforms. All wore special suits designed by Earth scientists to keep them comfortable. Admiral Tecleri came last, his crystal body now wrapped in a protective shell with gravity compensation. "I feel so heavy," he said. "You'll get used to it," said Minna kindly. "We've arranged transport to show you different parts of our world." The aliens boarded large vehicles with special climate controls. The convoy started moving toward the city. "Where are we going first?" asked Counselor Vex. "To meet ordinary humans," said June. "We thought you should see how we live day to day." The convoy arrived at a large park where hundreds of humans were enjoying the spring day. Children ran and played. Adults walked dogs or sat on blankets eating food. Some people were playing sports. The aliens watched in stunned silence. "Those small humans," said Gala, pointing at children on a playground. "They're climbing on metal bars and jumping from heights. Aren't they afraid of breaking?" "Kids fall down all the time," said Mina. "They get bumps and bruises. They heal. It's normal." "And those humans are deliberately running until they sweat?" asked another alien, pointing at joggers. "Exercise," explained June. "It keeps us healthy." "What are those people doing?" asked Tecleri, pointing at a group sitting on grass eating spicy food. "Having a picnic," said Subin, "eating outside for fun. But there are insects everywhere, and bacteria." And pollen, exclaimed Gala. Minna nodded. Yes, that's nature. We live with it. The next stop was a grocery store. The aliens were shocked by the variety of foods humans ate. This contains capsaicin, said Gala, scanning a chili pepper. It's a defense chemical that causes pain. We eat it because we like the taste, said Subin, smiling at the alien's confusion. And this contains ethanol, said another alien, pointing at the wine section. It's a poison. We drink it to relax, explained June. This makes no sense, said Teclary. You eat things that hurt you, for pleasure. The tour continued to a hospital. The aliens were amazed by human medical practices. You cut humans open to fix them? Asked Gala, watching a video of surgery. Yes, said Mina. And they heal. Your bones can break and then fix themselves? Asked another alien. With some help, yes, said Mina. Human bodies are good at repairing damage. By mid-afternoon, the alien delegation was overwhelmed. They returned to a conference room to rest and discuss what they had seen. I don't understand, said Vex. You live in these conditions, surrounded by dangers, and you think it's normal. Because it is normal for us, said June. We evolved here. But the microbes alone, said Gala. Your world is filled with tiny life forms that could cause disease. Our bodies fight them off, explained Mina. We have immune systems designed for Earth. And the predators? Asked another alien. We saw images of your oceans, your jungles, full of creatures that could kill you. We respect dangerous animals and keep our distance, said Subin. Most of the time. Most of the time, repeated Teclary, his crystal form flashing with alarm. Well, said June, some humans study dangerous animals up close, or swim with them, or take pictures of them. The aliens stared in disbelief. And you sleep? Asked Vex. You actually become unconscious for hours, despite all these dangers. Every night, confirmed Mina. A screen on the wall showed more images of Earth, mountain climbers scaling steep cliffs, surfers riding giant waves, people walking through snowstorms or desert heat. Why? Asked Teclary finally. Why do you test yourselves against such extremes? June thought for a moment. Because we can. Because it makes us feel alive. The conversation was interrupted when a young human woman entered the room quickly. Captain June, she said. There's an emergency. A small earthquake just hit a city 200 kilometers from here. The aliens looked alarmed, but June remained calm. How strong? 5.2 on the Richter scale. Minor damage. No major casualties. June nodded. Thank you for the update. The woman left, and June turned back to find the aliens staring at him. Did she say earthquake? Asked Vex. The ground moved. Just a small one, said June. Nothing serious. Your planet's crust randomly breaks and moves, and you call this nothing serious. Teclary's crystal body was now flashing rapidly with stress colors. It happens, said Mina simply. We build our structures to withstand it. That evening, the delegation watched news reports about the earthquake. They saw humans calmly cleaning up fallen items. Children were already back playing in parks. Life continued. Your species is remarkable, said Gala quietly. The conditions that would kill most council species are just Tuesday for you. I think I understand now, said Vex. It's not that you're stronger than us. It's that you had to become strong to survive here. June nodded. Earth shaped us. The gravity made our bones dense. The oxygen made our muscles efficient. The danger made us adaptable. That night, as the aliens rested in their specially prepared quarters, they spoke among themselves. Do you realize what this means for the Council? Asked Teclary. A species that considers our safe worlds to be boring? A species that evolved on a world we classified as uninhabitable, added Vex. A species that sees danger as a challenge, not a threat, said Gala. Outside, a thunderstorm rolled in. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed. Rain poured down. The aliens watched through their windows, wrapped in extra layers of protection, as humans simply opened umbrellas and went about their business. Earth might be a death world to the galaxy, but to humans, it was just home. And they were just getting started showing the galaxy what that meant. The great meeting hall of the Galactic Council was packed. All 47 member species had sent representatives. The news about humans had spread quickly, and everyone wanted to hear more. Dr. Do-Yun stood calmly at the center of the room. Behind him, large screens showed images of Earth. As the chief medical officer of the human delegation, he was here to explain human biology to the Council. "Thank you for allowing me to speak today," he began. His voice was steady and clear. "I understand many of you have questions about humans." The head counselor nodded. "Indeed, Doctor. The reports from our delegation to Earth have caused concern." Admiral Tecleri, still wearing his gravity compensation suit, spoke up. "Concern is putting it mildly. What we saw on Earth defies belief." Do-Yun smiled. "I'm here to explain, not to frighten. May I begin my presentation?" The head counselor gestured for him to continue. The lights dimmed, and the screens changed to show human anatomy. "Humans evolved on Earth over millions of years," Do-Yun explained. "Our bodies adapted to Earth's conditions. What you call extreme, we call normal." He touched a control, and the screen showed a human skeleton. "Our bones are dense because of Earth's gravity. They can bear great weight and pressure. When they break, they can heal themselves." A ripple of amazement passed through the audience. "Our muscles are strong for the same reason. An average human can lift their own body weight. Some can lift much more." The screen changed to show the human circulatory system. "Our hearts pump blood through our bodies constantly. If we're injured and lose blood, our body works to replace it. We can donate blood to help others, and our bodies will make more." Gala, the alien biologist who had visited Earth, raised a tentacle. "But what about your immune system? The microbes on your world?" "Ah, yes," said Do-Yun. "Perhaps our most impressive feature." The screen showed microscopic images of human blood cells. "Our bodies are battlegrounds. We live with trillions of microorganisms inside and around us. Some help us. Some hurt us. Our immune system fights the harmful ones constantly." He touched the control again. The screen showed a wound healing over time. "When we're injured, our body repairs itself. When we encounter a new disease, our immune system learns to fight it. We can even help this process with vaccines, teaching our bodies to recognize threats before they happen." A tall, insect-like alien clicked its mandibles loudly. "Are you saying your bodies learn from attacks?" "Yes," said Do-Yun simply. "We adapt." The screens changed again, showing humans in different environments. Deserts, mountains, Arctic regions, jungles. Humans can live almost anywhere on our planet. We can endure temperatures from -50 to +50 degrees Celsius with proper clothing or shelter. We can go days without water, weeks without food. The room was completely silent now. Our senses are tuned to detect danger. We see in color to spot predators or poisonous plants. We smell to detect spoiled food. We taste to avoid toxins. Admiral Tecleri's crystal form flashed with concerned colors. "Yet you deliberately eat spicy foods that cause pain signals." "Yes," said Do-Yun with a small smile. "We sometimes enjoy the challenge of mild discomfort." The screen changed to show humans performing various activities: running marathons, climbing mountains, swimming long distances. Our bodies are built for endurance. Long ago, humans hunted by simply following prey until it became too tired to run. We can sweat to cool ourselves, allowing us to be active for hours or even days. A small, gentle-looking alien with large eyes spoke up. "But surely you have limits. Weaknesses." "Of course," said Do-Yun. "We need oxygen. We can drown or suffocate. Extreme temperatures can kill us. Strong poisons can stop our organs. But—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. What makes us different is not that we're invincible. It's that we're hard to kill quickly, and we can recover from things that would be fatal to many species. The screen showed medical images, a person receiving a blood transfusion, an organ transplant, a limb reattachment. We can replace lost blood. We can transplant organs from one human to another. Some of our body parts can even be replaced with mechanical versions. Gala spoke again, her voice filled with wonder. You're saying humans are repairable? To a degree, yes, said Do-Yun. And we're getting better at it all the time. The final images showed humans in spacesuits working on a space station. And despite evolving on our Deathworld, we've found ways to survive even in the vacuum of space. We adapt. We build tools. We overcome. As Do-Yun finished, the room erupted in noise. Some aliens were talking excitedly. Others seemed frightened. Many were sending urgent messages to their homeworlds. The head counselor raised his hands for quiet. Thank you, Dr. Do-Yun. This is most informative. Counselor Vex stood up. I have a question about human psychology. Given the harsh conditions of your world, how did you develop cooperation instead of constant competition? Most species from challenging environments become aggressive and territorial. Do-Yun looked thoughtful. That's an excellent question. I believe it's because no single human could survive alone against all of Earth's challenges. We needed each other. Cooperation became our greatest survival trait. As the questions continued, a disturbance broke out at the back of the hall. A group of aliens was shouting and pushing forward. They must be contained, shouted one. Quarantined. Their world is too dangerous. They are too dangerous. The room grew chaotic. Security officers moved to calm the situation. Suddenly, a new voice cut through the noise. Enough. Everyone turned to see a woman standing at the entrance to the hall. She wore the formal uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. I am Ambassador Jin, she said, walking calmly to the center of the room. And I understand your fear, but you do not need to fear us. The hall grew quiet again as she reached Do-Yun's side. Yes, Earth is harsh by your standards. Yes, humans are resilient. But we didn't come to the stars looking for conflict. We came seeking friendship. Her voice grew stronger, filled with passion. Throughout our history, humans have faced countless challenges, natural disasters, diseases, wars. Each time, we learned and grew, not just in strength, but in wisdom. The screens behind her changed to show human achievements, art, music, literature, scientific discoveries, acts of kindness and heroism. We don't value strength for its own sake. We value what we can do with that strength. Help others. Explore, create, connect. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes and eye stalks and sensing organs of the various aliens. Yes, we come from what you call a death world, but that didn't make us conquerors. It made us survivors. And survivors understand the value of life better than anyone. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the head counselor spoke. Ambassador Jin, your words are powerful. But some among us fear what humans might become if threatened or angered. Jin nodded. A fair concern. I won't deny that humans can be dangerous when threatened. But we've learned from our mistakes. Our worst wars taught us to seek peace. Our biggest challenges taught us to work together. She smiled. Besides, wouldn't you rather have us as friends than enemies? The tension in the room eased slightly. Some aliens even made sounds that might have been laughter. But as the meeting continued, urgent news arrived from the edges of Council space. The Krull Empire, an aggressive species that had threatened the Council for years, had launched an attack on a border colony. The head counselor read the report with growing alarm. They've broken through our defenses. The colony is defenseless. Ambassador Jin and Dr. Do-Yun exchanged a look. Perhaps, said Jin carefully, this is a chance to show you what humans can really do. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. The head counselor looked at her with his large, thoughtful eyes. "What are you suggesting?" "Let us help," said Jin. "Let humans show you that coming from a death world doesn't just make us strong. It makes us value life all the more." The council chamber grew quiet as the aliens considered her words. The ultimate test was about to begin. The emergency council meeting was tense. Reports from the border colony Nerik 7 showed the Krull forces advancing quickly. The colony's 10,000 residents were in danger. "Our defense ships will take 2 days to reach them," said Admiral Tecleri, his crystal form pulsing with worried colors. "By then it will be too late." Ambassador Jin stood calm and straight. "Earth has a ship only 6 hours from Nerik 7. The HSS Defender. It's small, but fast." The head counselor looked doubtful. "One small ship against a Krull attack force." Jin nodded to Colonel Wujin, who stepped forward. He wore the dark uniform of Earth's Space Defense Force. "The Defender carries our Special Operations Team," said Wujin. 20 soldiers trained for extreme situations. We can hold the colony until your ships arrive." 20, repeated an insect-like counselor. "The Krull have sent hundreds." "We don't need to defeat them all," explained Wujin. "We just need to protect the colonists and hold key positions." The council members looked at each other. They had few options. "Very well," said the head counselor finally. "We accept your help, but we will send observers to monitor the situation." Jin bowed slightly. "Thank you for your trust." As they left the council chamber, Dr. Doyun joined Jin and Wujin. "Are you sure about this?" he asked quietly. "We've never fought the Krull before." "No," said Wujin, "but we've studied their tactics from council records. They rely on fear and overwhelming force. They've never faced humans before." Jin nodded. "This is our chance to show the council what humans can do. Not as conquerors, but as protectors." 6 hours later, the HS Defender dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Nerik 7. The small green planet looked peaceful from space, but sensors showed Krull ships in orbit and landing craft on the surface. Inside the ship's briefing room, Colonel Wujin addressed his team. 20 men and women in black combat suits listened carefully. "The Krull have landed near the main colony," said Wujin, pointing to a map. "Their goal is to capture resources and slaves. Our mission is to protect the colonists until council reinforcements arrive." A soldier raised her hand. "Sir, what about the planet conditions?" "Nerik 7 has lower gravity than Earth, higher oxygen levels, and slightly toxic atmosphere," answered Wujin. "Nothing we can't handle. Standard envirofilters in your suits will be enough." Another soldier spoke up. "What about the Krull themselves?" "Big, strong, aggressive," said Wujin, "but slow in the higher oxygen environment. They wear heavy armor because they evolved on a low-gravity world. In Nerik 7's gravity, that armor will slow them down even more." He smiled. "We have the advantage." The Defender landed at the colony's emergency landing pad. The human team moved out quickly, setting up defensive positions. Council observers watched with worried eyes. Gala, the alien biologist who had visited Earth, was among them. "Are you not afraid?" she asked one of the human soldiers. The woman checked her weapon calmly. "Of course I'm afraid. But fear keeps you sharp, and we've trained for worse conditions than this." Colonel Wujin established contact with the colony leader, a small blue alien named Turek. "Most of our people are hidden in the underground shelters," said Turek. "But the Krull are searching building by building. It's only a matter of time before they find the entrances." "How many Krull have landed?" asked Wujin. "At least 300. They have heavy weapons." Wujin nodded. "We'll set up our defense here, at the main square. When they come, they'll have to come through us." The human soldiers moved with quick efficiency. They set up barriers and positioned themselves with clear fields of fire. "They're coming," reported a soldier, looking at her scanner. "At least 50 Krull moving this way." Wujin turned to the council observers. "You should take cover now." The aliens hurried into a nearby building. where they could watch through reinforced windows. The Crawl appeared at the end of the street. They were large reptilian creatures in heavy armor, carrying powerful weapons. They moved forward in tight formation. "Hold fire until my command," said Wujin calmly. "Let them come closer." The Crawl advanced, confident in their numbers and strength. They had conquered many worlds. The weak aliens of the Council were no match for them. When they were halfway across the square, Wujin gave the order. "Fire." The human weapons lit up the square. The Crawl front line fell. The rest scattered, seeking cover. "They didn't expect resistance," said Wujin. "Now they know we're here." The battle continued for hours. The Crawl sent wave after wave, trying to overwhelm the human defenders. But the humans held their ground. Inside the observation building, the Council aliens watched in amazement. "How are they doing this?" asked one. "They're outnumbered many times over." Gala studied the humans closely. "Look at how they move, how they communicate. They're working as one unit." The observers saw humans doing things that seemed impossible. They fought for hours without rest. When wounded, they treated each other quickly and returned to the fight. They adapted their tactics as the Crawl tried new approaches. "Did you see that?" asked an observer as a human soldier took a hit that knocked her down. "She should be dead." But the soldier got back up. Her body armor had absorbed most of the impact. She rejoined the fight. As night fell on Nurix 7, the Crawl pulled back to regroup. The humans used the break to treat wounds and reset their defenses. "More Crawl ships have landed," reported a soldier. "We'll be facing at least 500 in the morning." Wujin's face was calm. "We just need to hold until dawn. The Council ships will arrive then." In the darkness, Ambassador Jin visited the observation post where the Council aliens were resting. "Now you see," she said quietly, "this is what humans can do." "It's remarkable," admitted Gala. "You're not just physically strong. Your teamwork, your adaptability. That's the real lesson of Earth," said Jin. "Our world didn't just make our bodies tough. It taught us that we survive best together." At dawn, the Crawl attacked again. This time they came from all directions, trying to surround the human defenders. The battle was fierce. Several humans were wounded. Their lines began to fall back toward the central building where the colony's main shelter entrance was hidden. "We can't hold much longer," said a soldier, his arm bandaged where a Crawl weapon had burned him. "We don't need to," replied Wujin, pointing to the sky. Council defense ships were entering the atmosphere. The Crawl, seeing reinforcements arrive, began to retreat to their own ships. The battle for Nurix 7 was over. As medical teams treated the wounded, the head counselor himself arrived with the defense fleet. He approached Colonel Wujin and Ambassador Jin. 20 humans held off hundreds of Crawl, he said, his large eyes blinking in amazement. "You saved thousands of lives." Jin bowed slightly. "This is who we are. Not conquerors, but defenders." In the days that followed, news of the human defense of Nurix 7 spread throughout the galaxy. Video of the battle was shared on all Council worlds. Opinions about humans began to change. 1 month later, Ambassador Jin stood again in the Great Council chamber. This time, the room was not filled with fear, but with respect. "The Council has voted," announced the head counselor. "Earth is formally invited to join the Galactic Council as a full member." Jin smiled. "We accept, with gratitude and hope for the future." After the ceremony, Admiral Tecleri approached Jin. His crystal form now glowed with warm, friendly colors. "I confess I was wrong about humans," he said. "I saw only the danger, not the potential." "A natural mistake," said Jin kindly. "Our appearance can be deceiving." "There is one question that still puzzles me," said Tecleri. "Given your strength and abilities, you could have conquered many worlds by now. Why didn't you?" Jin thought for a moment. "Because a Deathworld teaches you the value of life," she said finally. "When survival is hard, you learn to treasure it more. Not just your own life, but all life." Later that day, Earth sent a message to all worlds in the galaxy. It was broadcast in every known language. The message was simple. To all peaceful species of the galaxy, you no longer need to fear the darkness between stars. Humanity stands with you. We who evolved on a death world offer our strength in your defense. We seek not to conquer, but to protect. You are not alone anymore. Across the galaxy, beings of all kinds heard the message, and for the first time, many of them weren't afraid of the universe anymore. The ultimate death world species had become the ultimate protectors, and the stars seemed a little brighter because of it.